Hello. Hello, everyone. I guess you can hear me now. Cool. If it's too loud, let me know. Hey guys, I started doing a live stream last night. I didn't realize that the Trump speech was happening, and I was like, you know what? Let me just get off here. I was like one or two guys on there, and I deleted it. It was pretty short. I was checking out Dave Mescali's early pre-professional work, pre-pro work. Anyway, so I just wanted to go live right now for a few minutes, and well, longer than a few minutes, and just look through some comic book art by Attilio Micheluzzi. I guess that's how you pronounce it. It's an artist that Toth had on his list because he was interviewed in this one magazine, and he wrote out some names that he liked. And Dave Mascali, this artist, and others. He's an Italian artist, and it's really good stuff. I mean, look at this. He was a classic, artist. Hey, Dennis, how's it going, man? Good to have you here. I'm just going through some comic book art, and definitely want to promote Pigman. I'm at 199 backers, guys. Just crossed over 3,000, 13,000 actually, $13,000. 199 backers. I want to get to 200 and over. Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate it. Yeah. So this is Attilio Micheluzzi, Italiano. A great artist. And again, I discovered him through Toth, talking about him, mentioning him as one of his interview magazines. The black spacing is fantastic. I love that. I love when artists do that. It's like something that not more should do. It's just a strong way of going about, this art. I'm not going to read it. Some of it's Italian as well. Yeah, it is. Let's see if I can try to pronounce some. Furia, vostro renegato de gole. I don't know. I love the Italian language. I don't know it. Arrivederci. Right? I used to work for Italian restaurant owners at restaurants. Va dal tuo de gole e raccantugu. Stasera. I don't know. Dennis, no Roberto Del Toro today. I don't have. I mean, I got his comics. I don't know if I can go through them, even though they're in my Comixology Kindle apps. I mean, that guy. We went over it a little on Kangs with John Malin and Shanth, who had, or it was Dan Lawless, who had these great images of it. That'll be for no time. I mean, I'll definitely go over it. I think I have a few things of his, but I'd rather go through the actual comic book art. It's so damn good. He's probably one of the best working today. Him, Goran Parlov, Tonchi Zonjic, great artists, and each of them have this, somewhat connection with the older guys, like Roberto Delatorre with what's his name? With Hey Art, Hail Bosch, listening while working. Very, very cool. Yeah, this is just going to be me talking about some art that I discovered through Toth, just mentioning him in this one interview. Attilio Micheluzzi, Italian artist, and love the balance of black and white. I believe it must have been printed in black and white, so there's something about that. Even when you do color, though, I think one should consider those things. I love it, absolutely love it. I tried to do that in my first graphic novel, Tip of One. It became like a secondhand thing where I try to balance out the panels with that type of look. Braithwaite, Dennis, are you saying what's his name? Braithwaite is filling in for Roberto Delatorre, and while he's a good artist, he did some good stuff years ago. I think it's some Punisher stuff. He did some Justice League stuff that I believe Alex Ross painted over it, dominated it, but it still looked a little like Braithwaite. And while he's good, he's no. Hey, Mike, it's 4 a.m. Wow, Australia, right? while Braithwaite's good, Dougie Braithwaite, I think he's no Roberto Del Toro, and it's tough for me. Tough for me as someone who I'm very clear about what absolutely love and what I don't love as much. And it's just Doug Braithwaite. I think it was listed Dougie Braithwaite. Yeah. Again, I don't think he's even inking it. Roberto Del Toro inks it himself. There's more commitment there, more, he's all in. And I love when artists do that. When they don't ink themselves, I'm like, that's half the art there, really. If not more, because the finished art for me is the key. That's the thing that makes a true artist, a comic book artist. That's the thing that makes, okay, this guy is fully engaged, fully committed. He wants to do the final look and he doesn't want anyone to fuck with it. Even if you get good inkers, it's still not going to be what it ought to be with the artist himself. Miller really, in Sin City is where he fully came out with his unique look that he had. That was the thing when I think he started regularly inking his own work. And then John Romita Jr. did a few covers, which were great. His inking is great. He never did interiors. Walt Simonson, the bulk of his work, he's inked it, written, pencil, inked monthly, that's a lot, man. But man, he's great, and he's still great. This idea that with age comes bad work, no, it's not always the case. No, it is the case with Frank Miller. It's not the case with Walt Simonson, who's still doing kick-ass work with Ragnarok, which will be releasing, I think, part 4 coming up. So yeah, I will definitely go over Roberto Del Toro, Dennis. I just got to remember to make. What I will do is I'll go through some of the Thor comics, some of the Conan comics that he's drawn, but skip pages. I don't want to be strict, like get a strike or anything. Who knows if that would even happen? I don't know. But this is, again, guys, if you just came in, this is some work by Attilio Micheluzzi. Italian artist, great. He was one of the guys that Toth mentioned in his one interview. He was writing out to a lot of the artists. Mignola, he liked. Mazzucchelli, he liked, as the relatively modern artists. Even though to us now they started like 40 years ago, which is crazy. It's crazy, but that's where we are. Then it says Del Toro has drawn 8 of 16 issues of that run, but moved to covers. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's just tough to. I got an issue or 2 of the other artists. I'm like, you know what? Look, I'm all about the story. I am. Frank Miller to me is arguably the greatest storyteller. Even Mark Millar just mentioned that on X, and he's right. He says, I think he said he's his all-time favorite creator. And to me, Miller is the best storyteller in comic books, period. In terms of course, the writing itself, yes, and then the page layout, the designs, the way he tells, the way he flows a story. At his best, he's the best. At his best, and I got to make that clear because he's not always at his best for whatever reason, health reasons, and who knows, alcoholism, from what I gather. But when he was hitting on, he did Dark Knight Returns, Daredevil Born Again, Elektra Assassin within a very short period of each other. All that great work. Yeah, Dennis, he did half of it. Doug Tenaple, Mike says. Mucky says, a cartoon is a finished line drawing used in the transfer from sketch to canvas board. So technically, any ink is a cartoonist, inker. Any inker is a cartoonist. Yeah. At the same time, it's like, again, I just really, my favorite artists are the ones who do the full work. I mean, personally, written, pencil, inked. Anything colored, great. Even letter. Miller wrote, pencil, inked, lettered his Sin City stories, which I have the huge artist edition of, which is fantastic. I saw the Ronin Gallery edition, I think they called it, but it's like the artist edition. It's incredible and it's huge. That's something to definitely consider getting. It was very expensive though, very expensive, and I think they published that years ago. But yeah, I want to reread this, Mucky, because I want to make sure I understand. A cartoon is the finished line drawing used and transfer from. So technically, any inker is a cartoon. Yeah, I mean, again, Toth to me is the greatest. And part of what makes him the greatest is that he gave a damn to do the finished work. Everything, most of the stuff you saw, at least later on from him, was pure, unadulterated Alex Toth. That was his line. That was his thing. And it was awesome. I mean, there's something about having that finished look and also the commitment to do that. I think it's important. I think it's very important because, again, no matter even if you got a great inker, it's still not going to be the way you exactly intended. Now, in some cases, it might be better, like if Terry Austin inked it, because he's inked some okay artists and made him look great. He's inked some really good artists and made him look great. John Byrne, John Bogdanov in X-Men versus the Fantastic Four, which is a fantastic series. Ethan mentioned that's what got him into comics, and it's just what a comic to get you into comics. It's so good, so beautifully, created. Hail, Jimmy. How's it going? Mucky says, being able to do it all yourself is ideal. It is ideal. And again, the ultimate ideal is like a guy like, Will Eisner. Write, pencil, ink, letter, do it all. Do the gray wash shading as well. And do graphic novels until he died. He had the plot, which was the Protocol of the Elders of Zion. It was basically trying to take that to task, that big, evil lie about Jews that the communists put out there. And, the idea where, well, the Nazis hated Jews and the communists didn't. It's like, give me a fucking break. Some idiot also in Ethan's, in the King's chat, whatever, said, well, he likes me. He said, I like you, Bosch, but you're wrong. They were all Jews. Marx was a Jew. This was dummy. It doesn't matter. They're self-loathing Jews, and they place their communism above Judaism. So they're not recognized as Jews. Another guy, Eliza, I call him Eliza instead of Elijah. Eliza Schaefer, a piece of shit, said something along the lines of, communism is Jewish. It's retarded. Marx rejected his Jewishness. He hated Jews. He hated himself. He was self-loathing. And that self-loathing of his own Jewishness spread it across the socialism, into Hitler, into Stalin, into all these scumbags. They're all anti-Semites. Anyway, let me just stick to this for now, guys. Attilio Amicaluzzi, if that's how you pronounce it. I just love the Italian bounce. I love the language. This is great stuff, guys. Look at this. Very stylized, but very, very cool. Dramatic as hell, too. I love these type of things. Just the boom, boom, bold blacks. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It's a little more detailed work for him. A little more business in the line work, which is awesome, too. I mean, that's as legit as even his more simple stuff. I'll make this bigger. And let me go. Mike says, I don't really care about the drama around Doug TenNapel. I'm just weirded out. He stopped making comics. He was doing it long before Comicsgate with a Scholastic. Yeah, that is a strange thing. It's like, I don't know, cartoonists stop making comics. It doesn't make sense. It's like, that's what you do. That's what you're good at. Why the hell stop? It's a tough thing, but if you love it, it's less tough because you love it. You want to do it. You want to bring, the full engagement to it. I don't get it. I did notice that. Well, he was doing videos, I think, about politics, period. Mike says, maybe it was just a paycheck for him. Animation is clearly where his heart is. I don't know. I wouldn't know. I don't even know Doug TenNapel. I used to see him at some of the Breitbart parties in Hollywood years ago when Andrew Breitbart was doing these weekly parties, get-togethers, these big events also at times. And it was great being there. I must have come across him because I remember him. I remember people were talking about him, and I literally must have come across him. I know that he was at those events. In other words, I never got a chance to talk to him or anything. If anything, maybe short. But Andrew Breitbart, speaking of that, he this past week was when he died. Andrew, the great Andrew Breitbart. I sent him a message years ago, and just thanking him for the work he was doing, the activism work that he was doing, Big Hollywood and all this. I think he just had launched it at that moment. And I sent him a message. I said, "Look, I'm a cartoonist. If there's any, you ever need any cartooning work at Big Hollywood or anything, let me know." And Breitbart writes back in all caps, "I love Pig Man," and I was blown away. I respected him as an activist, big time. And to have him know about Pigman, first of all, and say they loved him, that was awesome. Got it. So we spent hours on the phone. He wanted to get me in this group. I don't know if it's still active. Friends of Abe. It's like these, I guess, closet conservatives in Hollywood. Even though I was, everyone knew my ideas. I never hid them. But it was a group of actors, famous actors. Even Clint Eastwood was at some of those events. What's the name of the actor who played in Forrest Gump? A conservative actor. I forgot his name, man. Anyway, it was great. It was great to meet up with Breitbart, talk to him. Very passionate guy, very loud, very aggressive, which I loved. And got to meet up with him a number of times at those weekly events. And then, I was working for Big Hollywood. I was the one of the, you know, tiers, I guess, on that site. It was Breitbart, but then Big Hollywood and all these other entertainment places, movies and stuff. And again, guys, I'm looking through Attilio Amicaluzzi, Italian artist, Italian cartoonist. He's great. He's one of the guys that Toth mentioned in this one interview. But back to Breitbart. Breitbart, a great activist and honest, also intellectually honest, to the point where he was doing a talk and he was asked about his position on Islam, and he was honest enough to say, "Look, I don't know about it, but I do want to know about it, and I will study masters like experts like Robert Spencer." You know, that's an honest guy. He's not going to yap away something that he doesn't know. He's be intellectually honest enough to say, "I don't know, but I will find out, and then I'll answer the question at a certain point." Um, and then it was. I was working for Breitbart, doing cartoons and essays also about freedom, about free speech, about Pigman. And then I was drawing some stuff. I sent in an article called Islam versus Peace. Islam versus Peace. And the editor, John Nolte, was like, "We can't publish this." I said, "Why not? We can't do that." And I was like, so we went back and forth. He canceled like five different things that I handed in, that I submitted. And then I had a falling out. It was 2009, November 9th. I believe it was 2009. Could have been later. 2011, maybe. I know it was November 9th. The scumbag in Fort Hood killed about a dozen people. The Muslim soldier, U.S. soldier who worked at a certain base, slaughtered innocent people, innocent Americans. And I remember it was John Nolte, the editor, and someone else talking about, you know what, like the holidays are here, so let's discuss that after the holidays. And I was so fucking pissed. And I called him out publicly. I called up the editor. I said, "What the fuck is this?" I said, "This is America's just got slaughtered. You're gonna talk about it in a few months because you don't want to let it mess with your holidays." And he goes, "I don't think I can work with you anymore." I said, "I don't think I can work with you." So I emailed the Breitbart. I said, "Hey, here's the situation. Maybe it's not ideal for me calling him out publicly, but I was just absolutely incensed. I couldn't believe that he would say that." And Andrew said, "Look, Bosch, I got a mountain of emails, but I will get back to you and we'll talk about it." And I think he was open to just, okay, that's fine. Maybe you don't work with him. We'll work with someone else. And then, he died. There are people with some conspiracies. He was killed. I don't know. I don't think so. I think he was unhealthy. A big guy, heavy, drinking, and maybe some other stuff. And he ate a lot. And then I drew him that morning. I drew Breitbart, and let me see if I could actually find it. One second, guys. I posted it because someone mentioned Breitbart today. So I did post it. Like, give me one minute, guys. It was in a reply, so I might be able to show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, here it is. Here's my Breitbart drawing that I did the morning that I found that he died. Got to know him, a great guy, a kick-ass fighter, and that's how I saw him, and that's why I drew him like that. And he represented more than just himself. He represented a movement of really pissed off patriots who were sick of the left and wanted to fight back in ways that the right isn't used to, a little hard edge. And that's how I saw him, and I drew him that way. And I posted it, and Greg Gutfeld contacted me because we were pretty friendly. I had met up with Greg at in New York City, and we had some wine. It's funny, we were pretty much had a lot of wine, and we spoke. The woman that I was with and him, and we had dinner and stuff, and then we went to Red Eye, and we were watching the actual show as it was being filmed. And then I had a falling out with Greg over Edward Snowden because he was talking about him in a way that I think gave the government a little too much credit. He was siding with them, and he goes, "Yeah, you like all of them." So, and then I wrote back a little while after, and he goes, "You know, it's all good." But anyway, Greg's a great guy. I also Greg also asked for people to send in ideas. Remember the Ground Zero Mosque, guys, 2011? It was the 10th anniversary of 9/11, and Muslims were trying to build a victory mosque near Ground Zero, flat out victory mosque. And Greg Gutfeld was pissed, so he said, "All right, guys, I want to build a gay bar right across that mosque if it happens, if it happens." And so what was it? What was it, guys? I gotta find this out, man. Give me 1 second. So I made a cartoon. I don't like showing this stuff on here necessarily, but let me just, man, I don't like doing that at all. Let me put that back. Sorry, guys. I just don't want to show too much stuff. But anyway, it was Piggyback is the name that I thought about for the gay bar. And I had two pigs. One on top of the other, with smiles on their faces, having sex. And it was a T-shirt that I gave Greg Gutfeld where he was talking about it. He loved it. It was hilarious. Anyway, so he contacted me that morning when Breitbart died. He knew Breitbart. He was a good friend of his. He goes, "Bosch, can we auction that off on Red Eye for his family?" And I said, "Absolutely, Greg. Absolutely. That's the least I could do to pay back, Breitbart for his support." And so he did. He ended up getting $5,000 to give to his family. This is 2012, 13 years ago. It's a long time, man. Wow. But those parties were great. They were in Hollywood. A lot of people showed up there, people who you guys would know, and it was just great being there. By the way, guys, I just had a discussion on a call. I don't want to say what it is before it happens, but there's something interesting maybe happening. I think this summer at a conference where I'll be a guest and maybe more. Because as I was discussing things, Comicsgate and all that, my work and my mom cartoons, and they were interested in the wider idea about Comicsgate. So I emailed Ethan regarding it, and hopefully something he could be interested in, and maybe we can do that. So it's exciting. I can't talk too much about it, but it just happened. So I'm very excited at the possibility of getting this a little different audience. Anyway, because comics can always use any kind of expansion. I mean, absolutely. You want it to go as wide as it can go, as it deserves to go, because it does. It's a great movement. Proud to be part of it. Okay, so yeah, again, guys, I'll be going through a little of this art. Attilio Amicaluzzi, Italian artist. Ma basta accident. Again, I love the Italian language. I don't know it, but I love it. Absolutely love it. It's my favorite language just to listen to. Movies and people, the president of Italy, I just love hearing her speak. And she looks good too. Okay. I'll get back to some comments here, guys. Thanks, Beater. I appreciate it, guys. Always. Um, okay. Yes, John. Hello, everyone. What an amazing speech last night. It was great. It was absolutely great. And John, you let me know that it was on. I was so out of the loop. I had a prior commitment and I lost just track of everything um, for like 4 or 5 hours. But it was great. I was able to watch the entire thing, the shenanigans from the rats, from the Nazi crats, and Trump's little pushback here and there, and a great speech. It was just great. Um, Mucky says Toth is a great draftsman and a great inker. I just don't like lumping all cartoons into satirical illustrations. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. I just don't like lumping all cartoons into satirical illustrations. I don't know what you mean, Mucky. If you can elaborate, I don't exactly know. John says, "What happened last night? I looked for the stream after, and it had vanished from the internet. I deleted it. There was nobody there. I was showing some stuff, and I said, you know what? Let me just delete this and maybe revisit those early. You know what? I might do that here actually. Let me go through Micheluzzi, and then I'll go back to the very early pre-professional art that Mazzucchelli sent to Marvel and DC, and it's good. It's not great." And there was also, I don't have the letter here, but it was a letter that Jim Shooter sent him. And you could tell that Jim Shooter liked it, but he knew that he wasn't quite ready. But you could tell by the nature of the letter. Jim Shooter was like, I think this guy can be good, but we'll see. And he ended up a few years later working on Daredevil. Hello, Lord Tapman's Comics. How are you? Monkey says Canese. I don't know what that is. Gary Sinise. Gary Sinise. Gary Sinise. Yes. He was at those events as well. A lot of guys. The producer from Joel Cerno, the producer from 24. I love 24. I love seeing Jack Bauer kick Tara's ass. I loved it. And I got a chance to meet him and shake his hand and say thanks for Jack Bauer. I love Jack Bauer. Kiefer Sutherland was a great, a few seasons in particular, clearly the first one, second one, I think fourth one, and then the eighth one. That's how I remember them, that they were just somewhere lesser than others, but overall, taking on terrorism, taking on Islamic, terrorism at times was really good. There was a little compromise at one point where CARE had to show up in the beginning, I guess, the studio. They showed up in the beginning of the episode to say, Islam. It's like, fuck you guys. We're talking about terrorism and Islamic terrorism. What are you talking about Islam for? You don't disassociate the jihadists from regular Muslims? I see. Because that is what they're doing. It's like people call me racist and Islamophobe this past week for my Pigman crowdfund. It's like, also they're offended, extremely offended by the. It's like, oh, so you're on the side of jihad? I see. That is the case. If they're so offended by Pigman, it's like he takes down jihadists. Well, that's a problem with you. I guess you love jihad. Okay, great. 1 second, guys. Let me see something here. I'm gonna pull this up. Pull up my campaign. That's a book that I'm reading. Huh, I guess it didn't show up here. Strange. I got too many things on here, I guess. But again, that was my drawing of Breitbart that Greg Gutfeld auctioned off on Red Eye. And I was on Red Eye a few years later after I was almost killed in that jihadist attack, with the two jihadists got their heads blown off. And it was Tom Shalhoub hosting. He's great, and he had me on about the cartoon and about the they try to kill us. And I had a small cartoon. Let me show you guys. I don't know where they are. I had these small little copies, prints of my my Winnie Muhammad cartoon that were at the event, which I had two. I don't see them right now though. I know they're somewhere. Anyway, so what was I saying, guys? I was on Tom Shalhoub's Red Eye when he was hosting it on Fox News, and what happened was I had one of those small drawings, and I asked him. I said, "Can I show my mom cartoon?" And I knew that they were against it. I knew Tom, was cool about it, but and I showed a little flash of it, like a flashcard, on Fox News. They wouldn't show it. Greta Van Susteren had me on. She agreed to showing it, and then reneged. And that's when I told all the media, no more. You have me on, you're going to show the cartoon, or I'm not going to come on. That's why you have me on. Let's do it. Anyway, so then a few months later, John Stossel had me on a free speech special on Fox News with Mark Stein, Ayaan Hirsi Ali, some members of CARE, the stealth jihadist group, and it was great. It was great to meet up with John Stossel, go to New York, and shoot that. And they showed my cartoon. They had it on screen for 10 seconds. They animated it. They had the words, "You can't draw me. That's why I draw you." They animated the balloons that I drew, which is awesome. Anyway, so exciting stuff. But let me just go to my campaign. I am at 199, guys. I am at 199 backers. Just crossed 13,000. Very excited about that, guys. I was on. I got to thank Ethan and John in particular, because Ethan, it was going to be the drawing Pigman or the Chanu on this last Comics Get Kings, and so Ethan said he was going to draw Pigman. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to draw Cyberfrog then. Perfect. I love the comic. It's great, and it's a really fun and difficult guy to draw, especially for my style. It's just anyway. So then I'm drawing Cyberfrog, and then I see that Ethan is not drawing Pigman. He's drawing the Chanu. So I was like, what the hell, man? All right. So then I added this. It's all in good fun. I added the finger. I was like, hey man, you said you drew Pigman, and therefore I drew a Cyberfrog. And I said, all right, Ethan. And I posted about it. He shared it. He got it. I guess he didn't mind it, which is fun. I mean, it's a fun character, man. It really is, and it's an inimitable character for Ethan. I mean, he's like, it's so within his style, his detail, that it's almost no one else can really draw it as well. And the paper I have, it's for paint, right? So if you look close, the pencil marks had this like a cybernetic thing. If you look close at the eyes and the shading. So that was really fun, guys. It was really fun. Anyway, let me go back here. Let me talk about my campaign a little, and then I'll get back to your comments. As you know, I launched this on February 21st. And before I went on Ethan's show that night, I earned about 4,000. And then I went on Ethan's. He shot up to like 9,000. And I've been able to basically go up to another 4,000 on my own in the last 2 weeks. But then Monday, with John drawing Pigman, with Vasilis drawing Pigman, with Aaron drawing Pigman as Porky Pig, and Graham drawing Pigman, which with the two jihadists, which was great. I love to see a scan of that. It spiked a little sales. I had a nice handful of sales just on that alone. Just any kind of mention, I guess, of Pigman. People are drawing it, people getting excited about it, which is awesome. And then John had Kangs, and he helped me pitch it a little, and which is awesome. I really appreciate it, and I sold more. So I'm at 199, guys. If you want to do it on this stream, if you guys are still on the fence, maybe you want to be the 200th backer, please. I would very much appreciate it. So as you know, it's a relaunch of my Pigman comic book. The Islamic background of twins comes to the forefront of their lives on 9/11, which is echoed by the comic book within Pigman vs. Super Chat. Twin brothers, Killian Duke and Salam Duka. One becomes a recovered Muslim, Killian Duke. He creates Pigman comic book. Salam becomes a born-again Muslim. He becomes a jihadist, and the conflict is echoed between from the brothers to Super Jihad and Pigman. And first is first, first things first. Pigman takes out Al Qaeda, takes out Osama bin Laden, and then he takes out other groups. And he's not stopping there. He's like, okay, I killed the guys, I ended the threat that did 9/11. Now I'm going to go after all the rest, because that's the way I see it. I see it as a global jihad. It's not just particular groups. It's not like, oh, Hamas is at war with everyone, with the whole entire world, not just Israel. I know people like to, because they don't like Jews, or they have whatever criticism against Israel. Anyone can have criticism against any country, but it has to defend itself. It has to. It has no choice. And they've also killed Americans, guys. Those guys who are neutral about it, they've murdered Americans. They've kidnapped Americans as well. So they have hostages. Anyway, he goes after Al Qaeda and every single last jihadist group on earth. His goal is to do nothing less than end jihad, and that's echoed here on this cover, where he makes a vow. That's my image of Pigman making a vow at the tombstones of the Twin Towers. It's so I got 9 pages worth of previews. Guys, I'm gonna try something here. I'm gonna try it. I don't know if it'll work, but I am gonna try it. And you guys tell me if you can. Okay, sorry. You guys tell me if you can hear it. I'm gonna try the video. Please let me know. So guys, if you could let me know if you heard that, and if you did, I do want to play it, because I'm still getting the hang of this whole audio, no voice, me or the voice on the video, Jimmy. No sound. Okay, I appreciate it, guys. How the hell do I do this? Let me try one more time. Let me try this now. Let me try this. 9/11 hits, and it all comes back. It's ridiculous. My name is Bosch, and I'm a recovered Muslim. I was born to Albanian Muslim parents in the Bronx, New York, and I forgot about Islam for years. 9/11 hits. Can you hear that, guys? Did you hear that then? Or you didn't? For the campaign video. If you guys can let me know. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna play it then, guys. I'm gonna play it. Give me 1 second. I just want to show you my campaign video if you haven't seen it. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Let me. It's not good audio. Yep. Albanian Muslim parents in the Bronx, New York. And I forgot about Islam for years. 9/11 hits, and it all comes back to me. And that's when I just. All right, guys. You know what? To hell with it. I have to figure it out. You know what? Okay. Okay. Let's do it. My name is Bosch, and I'm a recovered Muslim. I was born to Albanian Muslim parents in the Bronx, New York. And I forgot about Islam for years. 9/11 hits, and it all comes back to me. And that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to respond to this with my art. I'm going to exploit the Islamic enemy's bigotry. And I wanted to have this big force of nature wrapped in pigskin leather and go after him. He's an ex-Muslim himself, like me. And just go out there and pummel them out of existence. It's based on my life, my reaction to 9/11, my Muslim background, and then I bring that forth to the brothers and the twin brothers in there. One is a recovered Muslim, one's a born again Muslim, and one of the brothers, the recovered Muslim, creates a comic book called Pigman within the story. He's my stand-in. This is a special edition of Pigman #1. It has bonus material, extended scenes. So I just want to thank you for taking your time to listen to this and consider getting Pigman #1. Thank you. All right, guys. Probably not great audio. I got to figure this out. But anyway, I just wanted to pitch my comic again to those who are on the fence or those who haven't got it yet, who maybe are waiting to get it at a certain point. If you can get it now, I would love for it to crack 200 backers today. Very much so. And then I have the comic itself. It'll be about 60 plus pages, if not more. A big pig-sized comic, really. And the 4 different covers I have this one, relatively traditional comic cover, action scene where he's killing jihadists, punching that guy to death, crushing that guy's neck, and even the guys with the Kalashnikovs are shaking. I have this one, just a close-up of Pigman in war paint, jihadist blood. This one of the main characters, the twins, Killian Duke and Salam Duka. They're going to war, and then they're, I guess, super echo of that with Pigman and Super Jihad, which represents them. And then this cover. And also am offering Pigman hard index card drawings. And then all 4 covers, digital copies. Pigman t-shirt, the logo, which is a September 11th, 9/11. Also like a capitalist pig, $sign. The war paint print for 11 by 14. I want it all pack. I think I'll be adding the flip book as well, guys, pretty soon. I think I'm going to add that. Here's my a new exclusive to this campaign. I have a number of trading cards, but this is exclusive to this campaign only. Submission Impossible. And then Table for One. I'm getting some nice. It's 9 backers. It doesn't seem like a lot, but that's nice because I think it will make me actually get these prints and get them out there and have some more backup because I got now 4 books at least out of print, and I like to have them in print. So pretty cool. And I also just added this the other day, sketch covers of Pigman, Killian, whoever you want. You want Super Jihad, you want Salam, you want just let me know. And then this one, original art pages from Pigman, and then Pigman commissions. So guys, check it out. You want to see these on my Enemy, get it. Get Pigman #1. It's the only comic that takes on Islam and jihad. Miller took on Al-Qaeda for Holy Terror, didn't take on Islam per se. Didn't do the work. And you can check out my review on my YouTube channel. And by the way, if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, I would really appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. If you could like this video while you're here on X or YouTube, I would really appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. And that's my pitch for now. And let me get back to, oops. Okay. To Attilio Amegaluzzi, a great Italian cartoonist. I'm just going to show a little of his art as while I'm here with you as more or less background. I just love showing art that I love while we go back and forth, guys. So let me just read a few more. Okay. Mike says, I got a rat in my house. All the cats around my house died, and since then, more rats have been around. They eat comics sometimes. Okay. Is that the case? Clemeco Leonlis. I'm sorry. Very professional looking. Are you talking about the video? If so, thank you, because a friend of mine, he set it up. He put it all together. I think he did a great job. And I learned to shut my mouth because I said, he showed me like a setup prior to me getting there. I said, I don't know, maybe the red, maybe we'll try something else. And I said, you know what? Okay, I'll defer to you. And he did a great job for everything, from the music to everything about it. It was really, really good. Very, very professional. Mucky says for that gay bar across the would-be Ground Zero mosque that Greg Gutfeld proposed in reaction to the rest trying to have a victory mosque at Ground Zero, which is what their purpose was. I remember I drew a cartoon, and I drew a pigman running really hard, right? And it says, "If they build it, he will come." And I was called a terrorist for that cartoon. A terrorist for making a cartoon, taking exception to these bastards building a victory mosque at Ground Zero, right next to it, for drawing a cartoon opposing it. Terrible. Mike says the Taliban had an office in New York in 1999. Michael Moore went there on his show, The Awful Truth. Did Michael Moore eat with them? Did he eat with them? I'm assuming. That piece of shit commie. Mike says Italian is a beautiful language. Forget about it. I'm walking here. Goodbye, gabagool. Yeah. It is. I mean, it is. I love it. But that's not Italian. That's American Goombas from The Sopranos. Oh, how you know? Mike says Samuel L. Jackson played a torture and interrogation expert in Unthinkable. I think that was Kevin Spacey. If I remember, it's pretty bad. I think it was meant to be a criticism of torture, but in that specific movie, I thought he didn't go far enough. Jimmy says, all the kings that did the Pigman drawing did a great job. They did. It was awesome. It was great to see. I mean, Graham just, he had that really elaborate thing where Pigman's taking out 2 jihadists, which was awesome. Thanks for letting me know about the sound, guys. And it just wasn't good enough, but the audio was clear enough, I guess. I guess you guys were able to tell. Yeah. Enrique, I mean, we got audio, but it's not good audio. Exactly. It was my Max speakers, and I couldn't get it. I tried I got this Ecamm program that I do my live streams from. I tried Ecamm Live app audio. I tried Motive Mix virtual input audio. Nothing. Except the iMac speakers, and it's not good. Oh. So thanks, let me know. Mike Hunt says, recovered Muslim, how many days sober? Let's see. Many. Because I'm a recovered Muslim as well. My first speech, it was 2011. David Horowitz is there. A few notable people were there. And my first words were, my name is Bosch, and I'm a recovered Muslim. I got a little, a little support from the audience. They laughed. They thought it was funny. But that is the case, though. It's not just a joke. I am a recovered Muslim. Okay, Fabian Stosalvevic. Sorry, man. That's tough. Stosalvevec. Audio was fine for me. Awesome. Mike says, mentioned that the comic is already drawn. I think that it helps sales. Well, it is drawn, Mike. It is drawn. It's all, I have over 100 pages of a Pigman, and this one will be about 60 to 70, and the other one will be the same, so it'll be even more than that. But what I'm doing is, the difference here is that I'm remastering it. I'm looking at each page, each panel, and seeing what I can do to punch it up, make it better. Add some pages, add some moments, expand some moments. So while it's already drawn and written, everything, I'm adding to it on each page. Those who got those first 3 issues of The Infidel featuring Pigman years ago, or even recently after I joined the Kings and stuff, you guys cleaned me out, which is awesome. I haven't had that in a little while. So it'll be all new material within this new relaunch. And it's first time that there's a Pigman #1 comic book. Before it was always called The Infidel featuring Pigman. It was trying to say that there's two stories in here, and I try to convey that in the title. I say, you know what? Let me keep it simple as hell now. Pigman. Period. That's it. So Mike says Vito is coming up 2 years with publishing his comic. Up to 2 years with not publishing his comic. Now, when was Vito supposed to have that out, Mike? Because supposedly it was done, and then it wasn't. I don't know. I don't know. I know that Vito went after me on a few things. I went after him back. And then I think Dick and Vito had a video about me and about the troops. I was defending the troops against Dick, who smeared them as baby killers and mass murderers. It's just stupid talk. They're better men than you, Dick, and you got to respect that. I don't give a shit what you think about the wars and stuff. It's not the soldiers that are at fault. It's the scumbags who send them there on these missions that don't add up to much. If the mission was to end jihad, our soldiers could have done it within however long it would have taken. Jimmy says audio was decent enough, but you will have to play with the settings. I would suggest do a private stream with a friend and tweak the audio setting. That way you eliminate the pressure. Yeah, that sounds good, Jimmy. I got to figure it out. Again, guys, this is all new to me. I just figured out how to share my screen. That's big for me. It was like, and nothing helped. Nothing helped. I look at these YouTube videos. Guys, if you're going to have these videos about it, show the step by step. Just show me exactly what you're doing. Don't just tell me that. So, anyway. Mike says, Sven Stoffels had his comic 80% complete before he crowdfunded it. Yeah. Well, this is all done. I mean, issue 1 and 2 are done. Pigman is just that, well, okay, they're done, but they're not done for this new relaunch, because I'm adding pages, I'm adding art, I'm having new covers, I'm changing this to be better. It'll be a better comic than it was. That's what I can guarantee. David L. She's a hooah, a hooah. I think that's how they said it. Hold on, I'll just pronounce it. Hooah, hooah. She's a hooah. Okay, Mike, 2 years. Dick is Vito is 2 years without fulfilling his comic. 2 years. Oof. Okay. Mike says, funny thing is that Dick has had veterans on his show. Yeah, it was really. I was surprised, actually. I was surprised the way he went after him. It was like totally unjust, totally unfair. And I called them out, and then they made a video of me with like a mouth that they were making sounds like. I guess I was whatever pleasuring our soldiers. Our soldiers, without them, I couldn't do what I do. We couldn't be as free as we are. That's a fact. And Vito and Dick couldn't mouth off the way they do. It's very stupid for them to go after our soldiers in that way. Go after those who give them the orders, these terrible orders where, okay, you got to go in this place, bomb those mountains, don't kill that guy, this guy. No. Unleash hell. That's it. Unleash hell and go home. Then it says Dick is just like the guy in Pigman with the gay comic. That's hilarious. Is he that bad? I mean, I know, as far as I know, he's a commie, but is he like a commie who wants to be friends with others and maybe talk about them behind his back? Meaning it's friendships, relationships of convenience for him, even though he can't stand the ideas. I don't know. I know that he is a completely fake. I do know that. Every time I see him out there, he's a fake, phony fraud. Dick has at least some, truth in what he's saying. He does. Yeah, they go off and do all these skits and all that stuff. But there was I guess a clip that Ethan was showing, and you could tell that Dick was pretty bothered by Vito. Genuinely bothered. He couldn't even hide it. His contempt for him, and that's good. He should have it. if Vito is the communist that I think he is. Let me go through a few more of these drawings by Attilio Amicaluzzi. Again, that balance of black and white, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Interesting also, the compositions here. That guy, only her eyes are showing there. The structures here are sound. Great, great shadow. Pure silhouettes at sometimes, half silhouettes other times. I mean, look at this, guys. This is just beautiful work. Beautiful work. And I discovered him through Toth. When Toth mentioned him in one of his praise. Dennis says, Dick talks shit about Mike Barron. Screw that. Does he? He trashes Mike? Huh. He seems like a goddamn ingrate also. I mean, Ethan had him on. He bounced his campaign, I think, over 100,000 and hasn't fulfilled it. Nah, man, that's not good. That's not good at all. So, guys, yeah, if you guys, if anyone here has been waiting to order Pigman, has been interested, but hasn't yet ordered, please consider. I would really, really appreciate it. I'm at 199 backers, and I have just crossed 13,000 with the help of John and Ethan. I would love to get to 200 and beyond. I want to get hundreds, definitely. I mean, 1,000, ideally. My first book, right out of the gate, 21 years ago, shot up to 2,000 copies sold globally. I'd love to get that. That's what I'd love to get. Jimmy says, personally, I don't get Vito, and I tolerate Masterson style. He is a professional troll. Yeah, I mean, for sure. The show doesn't go off from 1 ounce of sincerity. It doesn't. It's all just cackling, like fucking hyenas. It's really tough to listen to at times. Even when Ethan has it on, it's like, damn. It's like, I'm going to out hyena you. Oh, yeah? It's like, can you do something funny worth us laughing? I know you guys laughing, but can you give us something to laugh to? But Dick is better than Vito in terms of clearly his ideas, but also his willingness to call Vito's shit out and calling his comic out, and how he let down his audience. And even after that, clash that we had, he was still liking my stuff, Dick. I guess no hard feelings. That's fine, but you call out our troops in the way you did it, I'm going to go after you. It's completely unjust, completely. Mike says, Dick definitely has compassion for young men being sent to fight in forever wars, but he has a style of comedy that's difficult to describe, but I'm not here to defend him. Well, that wasn't my problem. That's my problem as well. I have compassion for young men as well, young men and women who, after 9/11, signed up in droves and were abused by not allowing to do their job. They weren't allowed to do their job and allowed to be killed. And these scumbags get away with it. If you guys remember, we used to, our soldiers used to teach these savages in Afghanistan how to be soldiers, right? And at these events that they had to, whatever, give them the status that they're soldiers now, they used to stab our soldiers in the back, literally. Stab them in the back and kill them, murder them. And they kept going on. The first time it happened, they should have been, okay, enough of this shit. We're going to kill the scumbags and get the hell out. You can't work with these savages. So it's not a point, Mike, about being compassionate for our soldiers who were thrown into the woodshed. It's about him calling our soldiers baby killers and the things that the left used to say. That was out of line. That was way out of line, to the point where I had to call him out. Okay, so Mike, I'm going to correct you here because I can't stand this bullshit. You said, I'm shocked at the war the last 20 years. It didn't, Mike. And if you thought about it, you wouldn't say that. Why? Because it could have been over in a very short period, but our government didn't want to win. They didn't want to win against the Islamic enemy, a religious enemy. They didn't want to win. The dumb fuck Bush went after Iraq. Why? Because he looked around and he goes, okay, the Saudis who fund terrorism, 15 and 19 hijackers came from Saudi Arabia. They're like robes. They wear robes. They got beards. They look very religious. And I'm a born again Christian, so that's not a target. Iran, they also have robes. Like really, they're religious. Hey, that guy in Iraq wears suits. He looks like an old gangster, commie guy with only a mustache. He doesn't have a beard. He's not really religious looking. You know what? I'm going to go after him. It sounds stupid, but that's what I think happened. That's how stupid he was. That's how stupid he was. So it wasn't an actual war. If it was actual war, Mike, and anyone else out there, you think our soldiers could have wiped this fucking enemy out in weeks? I mean, wipe them out. Jihad is over. If it was actual war with our full, whatever it takes, nukes or whatever, and I mean that, there's not a war that goes on for 20 years unless you want it to go on for 20 years. This enemy is a weak shit enemy. They have to hijack our planes to make missiles. Do you understand? So I get heated up about this. Don't take it personally, Mike, but I've heard this for the last fucking 20 years. Hey, man, we're at war. No, you're not at war. They did everything but actually unleash our soldiers on this enemy, unleash the military on this enemy. They spent 20 years not fighting war, not allowing our military to fight the war, and allow this enemy a chance at every point to get their nukes and use them. It's disgusting. It's pathetic. So it's not. We have not been at war. We've been at something else for 20 years, but not war. It's something in lieu of war. And the piece of shit politicians are in charge of it. And Trump, they call him the peace president, and he is, but he is absolutely more than willing, if we get attacked, to wipe out the fuckers who attacked us. He wiped out ISIS. He did. So while he doesn't like unnecessary wars, he will absolutely kill the scumbags who try to kill Americans and who do kill Americans. So that's the difference between him and the other rats. David All says, ABS was worse when he first started streaming. You're doing great, Bosch. Plus, you're interesting. I appreciate it, David. I remember listening to Ethan back in the day with that pretty fruity voice, where he was like low spoken and he was like a little lispy. I thought that was strange because I don't remember him being like that. But then I think he said he was trying to be quiet because he's a baby and all that. I think. And he said he was listening to Ricky Gervais, who had a kind of I don't know why you'd be inspired by that. I mean, just use your voice, just speak, But what really took off for me when it comes to Ethan's show, and I listened in and out, I lurked around and messages, was Trashcast. That's, I think, when the full-blown Ethan came out. Loud, aggressive, funny, calling shit, which for me, that was the biggest key. Calling shit, comics shit. That's important. We need that kind of voice. There's a massive lack of criticism in the comic book community. Everyone wants to be buddies, first of all. Everyone wants to, do this. No. We need some real serious criticism out there. Keep us in check. Keep comic book artists in check, cartoonists, the industry itself, companies, and so on. But of course, a lot of them, like the Comics Journal, are piece of shit leftist communists. So they're dishonest. They will lie about certain things. So I appreciate the fact that Ethan, first of all, we're on the same side politically. And on top of that, he's a cartoonist who knows exactly what he's doing and has that kind of pedigree to make that kind of criticism. That's what makes it, to me, my favorite show, hands down. I'll listen to Megyn Kelly. I'll listen to Matt Walsh and some others, but Trashcast with the Ethan show is my favorite show. Why? Because I'm a cartoonist. I'm part of this culture war. And there is a culture war. I know people on the right try to deny it and pretend it's not. Even some of the Zero say, I think, but even also, I believe Ripoff verse, I don't know if it's explicit, but he says something along the lines where it's not really culture war. It's like, it is. And he's fighting it as well, Ripoff verse, even if he thinks that there isn't one. But if I'm mistaken, let me know, Ripoff verse. If you're out there, if anyone is out there, I just heard him say, I heard him dismiss the idea that there's culture war, or dismissing the way that the Zeros go about it, because it's not really fighting a culture war. If they're promoting, Ripaverse, not part of the culture war. Culture war is about quality, the best stuff, the best of the best. It's not about, peddling shit to us, to their audiences. Thanks a lot, David. I appreciate it. Enrique Cabrera says, "Isn't it ironic when the left calls soldiers baby killers when their entire doctrine relies on baby killing?" Yeah, that's another issue there also, Enrique, where I'm not on board with conservatives when it comes to abortion. I'm not. I believe women should have the right. I believe that they should discuss it with the guy that they're involved with on that. I really believe it, and I don't. I resent when conservatives call it murder and they say it in a flippant way. It's murder. It's like, guys, if you believed it was murder, you would say it a little more seriously. You wouldn't just flippantly say it's murder. It's like Michelle Bachman said something like, you get a latte and then you get abortion and you murder. It's like, no, that's not the way it is. It's an emotional thing. It's a serious thing. It's something that women don't necessarily want to do. Uh, at least the ones who aren't bragging about it, like the scum leftists. That's a different story. And also abortions after delivery. There was a law in California in some area. You could, quote unquote, abort a living, breathing baby after it's born. That's murder. That's murder. But the unborn is the unborn. They are, it is. It's not a living, breathing baby, and women do have that right. And I can get this, and I know I'm going to piss off people here, and I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. I hate when conservatives like Ben Shapiro, yeah, it's murder, and nah, if it's murder, you wouldn't be flippantly saying it like that. You wouldn't be. Take it seriously. Respect the fact that it's an emotionally draining thing, decision that some women feel that they got to do for situations that whatever, maybe they're with someone, married to them, they're pregnant, the guy's a piece of shit, a philanderer, who knows? They make that decision. They're raped, of course they should. They should get abortion at that point. I know it's like no abortion no matter what. You're murdering. It's not. It's not murder. It's not. It's not. But that's a whole thing. Believe me, I've gotten a lot of pushback from that. That's my position. I believe it's a very sensitive issue. It should be dealt with respectfully and with enough compassion, because it's not all people who just flippantly get abortions and say, yeah, I can't wait to get another one. Those are evil scumbags. They are, because you're dealing with a potential human life there. You're dealing with a potential human life, and you shouldn't fuck around with that. You shouldn't. That's where I completely disagree with them. But, if we don't have the right to our own bodies, to our own choices that will affect us dramatically, in situations whether you agree with them or not, then we're not really free. I mean, we're not. That's the kind of tyranny that I think the left wants to, and this is why, in a lot of ways, the right, their brains fall into their hearts when they talk about abortion. They really do. It's all emotion at that point. It's no reason. It's no idea of freedom of choice, and they also feel entitled to telling women how to do and what not to do. It's like, you got no right to do that. It's a personal issue with the woman, the man involved, families. It's their choices in the end. I don't care how you interpret it. I don't care how you say, well, I identify it as murder. I self-identify abortion as murder. That's your problem. That's your issue, not theirs. But we can go on about that. Instead, I'm just going to go show some more art by Attilio Micheluzzi, and then also go back and forth with you guys. Mike says, I thought bin Laden would be dead a week after 9/11. Yeah, me too. And he should have been. And he shouldn't have been able to get away because they were bombing mountains, the idiots. They were bombing mountains. And then they let him get away, and he ended up in Pakistan, as if Pakistan didn't know. I mean, really stupid. Real stupid. Mike says, look at what happened in retaliation to Pearl Harbor. Yeah, that's the thing. There were less Americans murdered in Pearl Harbor than there was 9/11. It was almost 3,000, but it was less, technically speaking, and it was a military, place that they bombed with their kamikaze pilots, and we ended up nuking them. And I'll tell you one thing, I was open to anything. Nothing should have got off the table. If it takes nuking Mecca or, Iran. If that's what ends jihad, that's what ends jihad. To hell with the world, to hell with the people who cry and Muslims and leftists, and even those on the right who would bitch and moan about it. They want war. You want nukes? They do want nukes, Iran. Okay, we'll give you a live one. How's that? We could have ended jihad. And that's why it's a fantasy story, Pigman. Ultimately, it's a power fantasy, absolutely. Through Pigman, I'm trying to end jihad. I'm trying to show the world this is how you treat this enemy. You build up your power more and more as Pigman does. Each issue, his super suit gets more powerful to the point where, you know, it's a super war at that point between him and Super Jihad, and the world is at stake. And there are nukes in there as well. So, Dennis says, John says, they spent 20 years building up and security for Afghani poppy fields. Yeah, there's that too. There's that aspect as well. Dirty business, man. Dirty business when politicians give war a bad name. War is terrible, but if you're going to have it, you better get it over with real quick, like Sherman did in the Civil War. They must feel the hard hand of war. He said, "You want war? You're going to get it, and let's see if you want it still." When you have your cities burning, and all of a sudden they're like, "I don't think this is worth fighting," and they give up, and that's it. Dennis says, "Yeah, Ethan was fruity. LOL. It really was. It was like, hey guys, almost like a little like Richard C. Myers, who's also comes off as fruity. Hey guys, David, that was true. Look, I love Ethan, but those early shows pre Trashcast, I could listen to some here and there overall, but I wasn't a regular Trashcast. I think I must have watched every one. That's when it became like, you know, full on Ethan. And again, there's this code, I guess. I never respected the code about not criticizing fellow artists. Fuck that. I've been doing it for years. Years. I know that John, likes Rob Liefeld on a personal level. I think he gave him his first job, if I'm not mistaken. He's terrible. Even that Batman cover, while pretty decent, the coloring here and there, it's not good. I mean, it's the one that John showed or Ethan showed on the stream. Um, he's still struggling. He shouldn't be struggling, guys. He's been there for 30 years now. What he should have done after Youngblood made whatever $1 million, more than that, go to art school, Rob. Go to art school for a year or two, and just every single day bust your ass, earn the appreciation that your fans gave you for no reason. Earn it. I would have respected him big time if he busted his ass and went to art school and studied his ass off, read every book he can get on, put that they say get 10,000 drawings out of you. And the one compliment, even people who don't really like him, say, well, his work has energy. I said, yeah, because he put no energy in the learning how to draw. That's why there's a lot of energy left in Rob. But okay. Alice says, as time goes on, I'm believing that the Bush II White House was somehow involved in 9/11, or at least knew that it was coming. The Saudis would know. Thoughts, Bosch? I don't think so, Al. I don't think so. I think they were more incompetent and stupid than they were evil. I really believe that. I know one thing though, that studying all these things, that Al Qaeda have been threatening to take planes and fly them into buildings. And if you know that, as the government did, you could avert it. You could, by making sure that every single last guy who looked Arab, who looked Muslim, who looked like he was, even if he was a white guy with Islamic clothing, taken aside and checked and double checked and triple checked, because that's how you would 100% have averted it. You can call it anything you want. I don't give a fuck what you call it. But when you knew that Al Qaeda had planned, and it was part of their, plot to fly planes into our buildings, you can avert that, and they didn't. And they didn't. And on that, they're at fault on that. And then on top of that, after it happens, not to nuke them and not to make sure that jihad ends forever. You nuke them and then say, okay, jihad's over. Anyone, any Muslim jihadist kills anyone out there, you're going to pay a price. We're going to nuke. We're going to knock out that holy mosque, this holy mosque, that holy area, this and that. Jihad would be over. There are things that Pigman does also. He does the unthinkable. It shouldn't have been unthinkable in the real world, but it's unthinkable even in the fantasy world of Pigman, where of course there are leftists and communists in our media and the government, where Pigman takes out one of their holiest of objects in their world. Is a necessary thing to do, especially in reaction to what happens to us by Super Jihad. But that's a whole different thing. So Al, I don't think they were in on it, involved. No, I think that they could have taken precautions that they did not take. That the Clinton administration knew that they would fly planes into our buildings. Al Gore knew that as well. And for that, I believe Bush knew, or at least people in the know knew enough to tell him that. And they didn't do that. So on that, they're guilty for, if not malice, just, dereliction of duty. Dereliction of duty. Enrique Cabrera says, Trash Cast is Fat Man Unleashed. Yeah, it's full-blown Ethan, and that's what you want. You want him without hesitation, really. You want him to go all out and take out the trash. And there's a lot of trash out there. Mucky says, Trash Guys is my Hell's Kitchen. I want to yell every day and the pros in my business, and often for similar reason. EVS has one, Eric July. I have many. Yeah, there are a lot. But there are, Eric July types also, within Comics Hit as well. Guys who produce comics and also try to kiss up to him. Jimmy says, Ripoff versus Fighting Against the Zeros. He had a video a while ago that gave his resume and laid it out against the Zeros. Was he explicit about it? Because I know I had a video call with Ripoff Verse, and I know what he's engaged in. Did he reveal what he's engaged in? Because I don't want to give away. Good guy. We had a great, talk, and we might work on something. He did ask me if I'm open to something. I said, absolutely. So, we'll see. Mucky says, people brag as a cope, so women who act braggish after abortion, I believe, are coping. Yeah, I think so as well, Mucky. I think that's, again, it's a very sensitive, emotional issue. Any woman who gets an abortion, I don't give a fuck who they are, has to hurt on an emotional level and has to stay with that pain, because what they did was they didn't kill a human life, they killed a potential human life. And that alone is cause for depression. I know personally that, even if you don't recognize the fact that these are living, breathing human beings, and it's not quote unquote murder, and it's not. If you have miscarriages, that's tough. It's tough. It's emotionally tough, especially when you're on your way and it's all good and then it's not. And you get emotionally pained because of the fact that it was a potential human life and it could have came to term and it could have lived and breathed and been a human being. And even that, it's an emotional punch, gut punch. So I know of that. And you guys on here know of it as well. And Mike says, I have opinions on abortion, but no point in sharing them time and a place. I hear you. My show, I want to go anywhere and everywhere, really. Dennis says, I am in the middle of cooking, but respect your stance regarding abortion. I appreciate that, Dennis. A lot of people don't. I've been called every name in a book over it, a piece of shit, I just think that it is a very serious thing that should not be flippantly said to be, it's murder. It's like, guys, you can't throw out the word murder in a very flippant way. You can't do that. It's not a crack. It's not a crack. And if you believed it was murder, you would be saying it. You would give it the serious, tone that it deserves. If you believe that. I don't think you believe that. I think you get very stupid about that. I think you know that it is a potential human being, and it's tragic when, miscarriages happen. It is, because why? Because it could have lived and it didn't. And it hurts. It really hurts. David L says, hey Bosch, do you eat pork? Oh yeah. I love pork. I love bacon. I love ham. I love yeah. And it's funny, even when I was a quote unquote Muslim, back in the day when I was a kid, me and my Jewish friend both betrayed our respective religions. He was a Jew and I was Muslim, and we had a pepperoni pizza. You know, so it's funny. We also had some other food. So yeah, I don't eat it that often, but definitely do. John says it is hard to blow up an ideology, though. Fighting with art and culture does more damage. Okay, John, it is hard to blow up an ideology. Well, it's not blow up an ideology, John. It's to take out the true believers. That's what we should have done and could have done. And what happens there is those fighting jihad, you wipe those fuckers out by and put nothing off the table if you end that threat. And all of a sudden, these would-be jihadists are never jihadists. They're like, holy shit, we saw what happened to those who fought in the name of jihad. I think we're going to try something else. That's the point. So it's not blowing up an ideology, but what we do, ideologically speaking, is we condemn Islam as evil, condemn the fact that it motivates jihad. Still, the Merriam-Webster, I'm gonna see right now, guys. Has it changed? I don't know. But when you look up jihad, right, by definition, even the Merriam-Webster definition says a holy war waged on behalf of Islam as a religious duty. Guys, that's as precise a definition as you're going to get. Jihad, a holy war waged on behalf of Islam as a religious duty. That's the dominant definition. I know Muslims will say it means struggle. Yeah, sure. Holy war waged on behalf of Islam as religious duty. It doesn't say holy war waged on behalf of extremist Islam, Islamism, radical Islam, all this bullshit pussy terms that conservatives, leftists, liberals have used, libertarians, all hacks have used. It says Islam. So the point is, John, you have to identify Islam as the motivating factor of jihad and say that's what motivates jihad, not this alleged deviant form of it, actual Islam. Nothing within Islam, there's nothing within Islam that holds the hand of jihadists said, no, you can't do this. Go unleash hell on non-Muslims. That's what it does. So John, it's like, it's hard. It is hard to blow up an ideology, though. Our intellectuals should have gotten on the ball after 9/11 and say, okay, guys, let's read our asses off and let's find out what Islam means, first of all. Don't listen to fucking politicians like George Bush and the media, the scumbags like Peter Jennings at the time. Islam is peace. Bush also. Let's find out for ourselves and let's get to the truth. And if it's not to our liking, fuck it. We're still going to say it. That's what you do. You get to the truth and you tell it. That's what I've been doing for the last 20-something years, even going against my allies in the objectivist movement who are my fellow objectivists, but they became pussies after 9/11 because they said, they chose this term called Islamic totalitarianism. Huh? It's like dummies. Islam by nature is totalitarian. It's redundant to call it totalitarian Islam. Islamic totalitarianism. Islam by nature is militant. It's redundant to call it militant Islam is the problem. It's redundant to call it political Islam because Islam is inherently political. It's the ideology. It's the religion that motivates us. Nothing less than that. So, John, we go after the ideology intellectually. We say this is evil. This actually does motivate jihad. It's a straight line. The most devout Muslims are the monsters. They're not deviants. They're the monsters. To us, to them, they're the heroes. Within Islam, that in a subjective way. Objectively, they're monsters. Subjectively, within their own twisted minds, we're heroes. We're doing it in the name of Allah. So you take out the ideology intellectually. You have an ideological battle against it culturally, right? What I'm doing with Pigman. What Hollywood should have been doing since 9/11, but they haven't. What Frank Miller should have done in Holy Terror, and he didn't. Half-assed work. It has its virtues, and I discussed them on video. But by the way, guys, if you could like this, I would really appreciate it, guys. If you can subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, and if you could back Pigman, I would really appreciate it. And I will say this, guys, I'm the only guy taking on Islam and jihad in comic books, period. I'm the only guy. You look, Grok, hey Grok, who are the anti-jihad superheroes? Pigman. That's it. They don't even name Miller's hero, the Affixer. Because why? Because he just happened to be in the city fighting crime, and then jihad hit. He wasn't, Pigman was born on 9/11. I mean, the concept for me and the character himself. Um, so yeah, John, you declare Islam as the motivating factor, as the enemy's ideology, not alleged deviant forms of it, not Islamism and all that bullshit. Do you think Osama bin Laden ever said, "I am an Islamist and my ideology is Islamism"? No, he said, "I'm a Muslim and my religion is Islam, and we fight jihad in the name of Islam." That's what he says, and that's you have to take the word of those who are its true believers. So if you take out the ideology, intellectually, meaning our alleged truth-telling intellectuals, and if you're not intellectually honest, you can't be intellectual. It's impossible. But we have very many intellectually, dishonest, quote unquote, intellectuals. They're not. But we have many of those. Anyway, the point is that we can take it on, John, and we should, ideologically, culturally, on every front possible, and then hunt down its true believers. Those are the enemy is Islam's true believers and Islam and Sharia law and jihad and all that. Yes, but the enemy, the core, is Islam as such, which motivates jihad and Sharia law and all this, and its true believers. You take out the true believers, all of a sudden, you shatter the faith of Muslims across the planet. They're like, holy fuck, I don't want to end up like that. And what happens is that most Muslims are human beings who live in a real world. They don't live in this fantasy world that they're going to get to paradise. They leave that to the quote unquote heroes of Islam, the jihadists. But once you take out their heroes, once you take them out in as dramatic ways as possible, enough of them, let's just say potential jihadists will no longer be jihadists. They'll just be average Muslims and maybe rethink this entire jihad and start living in the real world and say that was a terrible mistake. Because what you got to do is you got to put the fear of America and the West into the Muslim mind, not the fear of Allah, the actual fear. That's what you got to do. So it's a battle, and it's a widespread battle, and that has not being fought intellectually, not being fought ideologically, not being fought on the battlefield. It's not, but it should be, and you can defeat this enemy. We have made ourselves believe that we can't. It's some amorphous thing, the ideology. No, you write books against Islam and jihad repeatedly, like Robert Spencer does. He's like a one-man show as well. Andrew Balsam, others have done it, but Robert's the guy. He's the guy. Then you do it culturally, like I'm doing within the comic book medium. Taking it on ideologically, taking it on, dramatically showing in dramatic fashion how the enemy should be taken out by word, by deed, and so on and so on. So it can be it can be defeated, John. But we have defeatists believing that it can't be, and that's the problem. So fighting with art and culture does more damage. Now, if you could explain that, John, because I don't believe that at all. Fighting with art and culture does more damage. Okay, I think you mean fighting with art and culture does more damage to the enemy. If that's what you mean, absolutely, absolutely right. Because ultimately, that will be, guys, when Hollywood has anti-jihad movies, and when they have movies about Muhammad, the war is over. By that point, we are all in, culturally speaking, and we will stop them by any means necessary. Guys, it's over, fuckers. We're going to portray Muhammad the way you say it's forbidden. We're going to do that. And we're going to show the truth. And it's an ugly truth. All you need to do to condemn Islam is tell the truth about it. That's all you need to do. That's why people don't. Because they're like, holy shit, this is so evil that even if I discuss it, I'll be condemning it. Yeah. I do that. Others do that. But not many do. John says Trash Gas gave us Pie Man. And man, it's a great show. I'm hooked on it. I love it. He was a little surprised, I think, when he first had me on. He goes, "You watch?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Whoa." He was a little surprised. I don't know why. He has known a little about me, before I went on last year. Now it's a year since my first appearance on Trashcast, actually. It's pretty wild how time. Yeah. Mikey, Goat says, "Hey Bosh, I just reread Table for One. Still holds up great. Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mike. Thank you very much. I'm gonna do something here, which I should have done before, which I have been doing of late, but I didn't do this time. Let me get it now. Actually, give me 1 second, guys. Um, give me 1 second, guys. I guess I could do this off screen, but that's fine. Let's see. You know what? Let me do this off screen for now, guys. Give me 1 second. I appreciate patience, guys. Give me 1 second, man. I just want to do this. Get here. Get here. I'm just going to put a link to Pigman, my campaign. It's still at 199. I need one backer to hit 200, guys. Come on, guys. Someone in the chat. Come on, guys. Support someone who's taken on this enemy ideologically. It's really, really important. Back Pigman 1. I just put the link, guys. I just put the link and I just pinned it. I gotta remember to do this all the time. I have to. I appreciate it, guys. Appreciate your patience. Give me 1 second. I will get back to your comments. I really enjoy the give and take, and I appreciate the support, even like Dennis. Whether you agree or not, guys, that is my position on this, and I think it's a very emotional, serious thing. Abortion. It shouldn't be flippantly talked about. Shouldn't be flippantly called murder. Like, you're just murdering kids, just murdering babies. I can't stand that. If you actually believe it's murder, you have to say it with a little more seriousness in your voice, in your tone. You have to. You should. It's a deadly serious thing. It's even again miscarriages, emotional as hell. If you have a few, it's even more so, and it drains you. It's like, my God, is this going to happen? You know, and you get discouraged. And it's as emotional as it can be. Why? Because it was a potential human life that didn't come to term, and it hurts. And the same thing with abortion. These are not, I don't give a fuck, those bitches, those whores who say, yeah, I can't wait to get another abortion. It helped me in my career. They're whores. They're scumbags. That's what they are. And the right wants to see all women who have abortions that way. That's just not the case. It's far more complex than conservatives give it, far more complex than leftists do, clearly. But then you have these monsters who, again, want to abort, quote unquote, babies after they're born. That's murder. That's murder. There's no doubt about it. At that point, it's absolute murder. They can, survive on their own with, of course, the help of adults, but they can survive on their own. They can breathe on their own. They're human beings. They're full, at that point. They're just, hey, Lisa, how's it going? Mike says 3 years since Russia versus Ukraine, 17 years to go. Yeah. Mike, I'm not sure if you understood what I was saying. I thought I made my point there in terms of you got some people who just want war to go on. It's a business at that point. It's something that is just corrupt. It's perverted. Mucky says high stress can cause odd reactions. Jimmy, the lumberjack, says nothing specific. It let the zeros know that there are still good movies and he lists them. Yeah. Say nothing about the call you had with him. Yeah. Say nothing about the. What do you mean, Jimmy? I didn't say anything detailed about it. I just wanted to note. And he Ripoffverse posted himself about it on X. He says, I just got off a call with Bosh. He's a really cool guy. Check out his stuff. And I said the same for him. So I'm not giving anything away. But there is good stuff out there. I know that. Everyone knows that. I got to put off Daredevil Born Again because I have to wait to watch it with someone. I promised them, so I got to wait. We're gonna watch it together. I can't wait. I don't want to hear too much about it, man. Please, guys, if you're there, don't tell me anything. I don't want to know anything about it. Even if it's great, I don't want to hear about it. I gotta wait a few days. I got my priorities. I love this stuff, but someone means more to me than that, so I'd rather watch with them. Um, Art says, didn't have Bosch being very pro-life in a bingo card. I finally found something we disagree greatly on. Good thing we're not leftists. We can disagree without declared jihad on each other. Now, didn't have Bosch being very pro-life in my bingo card. What do you mean very pro-life? I mean, I understand the pro-life, thing that the conservatives do, but to me, I am pro-freedom. I am pro-life, as in living, breathing human beings who make these choices and with the potential human life that's within them. So, but definitely we could, agree to disagree about certain things, especially this is it's a touchy thing. It really is. Monkey says, anywhere and everywhere. Hey, what's your thoughts on Tarantino? I love Tarantino. I was just talking about him the other day with a friend. Blown away by Pulp Fiction. Saw it and I was like, holy shit, this is something different. Let's just say that the extreme situations that with Bruce Willis and Ving Rhames, that one scene, and you all right? You okay? Nah, man, I'm pretty fucking far from okay. It's funny stuff, man, and it brutal. The violence, the brutality, the evil, the oof. And then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Great, great. Arguably my favorite Tarantino movie. Arguably, um, I love it. Brad Pitt was never better. DiCaprio was great. Um, the story was really good, and then also you're bracing yourself at the end. I don't want to say what it is, guys, if you haven't seen, but you're bracing yourself because you know what's coming. And then he does that turn. Then he does that fictional thing that he did also with Inglorious Bastards. Like, okay, and I love it because it's like a moral decision that he makes, where the bad guys get it, and they get it in a way that he wants them to get it, in a very aggressive, hardcore way. So yeah, I love his movies. I've seen every last one. Reservoir Dogs, things like this, man, guys. Reservoir Dogs, you got these two cops talking about, infiltrating this one gang, right? And the two cops talking, and then he's talking about Mr. White. I think it was Mr. White or someone. He was the guy in charge, the big, bald guy, ugly, rough guy. And he goes, he looks like the Thing. He goes, the Thing. He goes, yeah, the Thing, like right, like from the Fantastic Four. The Invisible Bitch. That's funny stuff. It's funny. Tarantino, the comic fan. He had Denzel Washington and a guy in Crimson Tide arguing over who was better, Kirby's Silver Surfer or Mobius's. And in the end, it's Kirby's, of course. It's funny. He's a fan. And then you got that scene in he didn't direct it, but he wrote the script in True Romance with Dennis Hopper. And I've seen Dennis Hopper from Rebel Without a Cause, his first appearance, to Giant, to Blue Velvet, to all these movies. He's never been better than he was in that scene with Christopher Walken ever. It's such a good scene that I think Tarantino himself said, I got this scene that it's better than the movie. And he thought about cutting it out because it is better than the movie. It's overall, whatever the movie was, whatever, that scene was so damn good that it dominated the movie. It's unforgettable. And it brings in also the Moors, the Muslims, the black Muslims who went into Italy and raped and pillaged and turned, blonde hair, blue eyed Italians into a little darker skin, a little, curlier hair, and so on. So it had a historical element, and the delivery was fantastic. And Hopper, again, was never better. I've never seen him better. his delivery. Sorry, guys. I shouldn't mute the mic when I'm coughing. Apologize. So yeah, I think he's a great filmmaker. Tarantino. Give me 1 second, guys. I think Tarantino is a great filmmaker. And he's also a piece of shit politically. He's a real idiot, really stupid. He was good against after October 7th. He was good. He would pose with the Israeli soldiers. He called out the Islamic enemy, and that's good. And then he also was all in for Kamala, like an idiot, like an absolute imbecile. So he's a great filmmaker and an idiot, both. But I love his movies. And that last one, arguably probably his most wholesome movie. I know if you've seen it, you know it's brutal and all that, but the intensity, the anticipation, the tension in this one scene with Brad Pitt going into that ranch at the door. It's great stuff, man. Great, great stuff. And that brutality against the would-be murderers also. And the fear that DiCaprio has by himself, his life, his future as an actor, as a leading man, when Al Pacino tells it to him, the agent, he goes, more or less, you're on the down, and maybe we can get you back by going through some Italian, I guess the spaghetti westerns, right? The same thing that Clint Eastwood did. He was struggling in Hollywood, went to Italy, made some of those spaghetti westerns, and became a star. And within a few years, was doing Dirty Harry. So it was really good. Very desperate characters, very desperate. And Brad Pitt was so good in there. I mean, he deserved that Oscar big time. He's not necessarily a great actor. He's not. He's a handsome guy who got in probably because of his looks, and over the years has become a good actor. But that one, he was great. He was absolutely great, and he deserved that Oscar, best supporting actor. And DiCaprio was great too. So that's what I'll say about that, Mucky. David L. Pork is tasty, indeed it is. Mike says, I just found out recently that Tarantino didn't write Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs by himself. He had a co-author. I heard rumors about that. I heard also he ripped those off. I don't know. I think it would have been known by now. Dennis says, Bosch, you have to come to Germany and eat Schofel. What is that? Tell me, Dennis, if you could describe it. Schofel. Torchbearer Studios just got here. Where is this page from? Well, okay, this is Attilio Amicaluzzi, Italian cartoonist. I don't know where the page is from. I don't know. I should know, but I don't. I know that I discovered him after Alex Toth was talking about. No, well, I think he mentioned them, but also he was interviewed and he wrote out the names in his incredible lettering. He was a great letterist. He wrote out the names of artists that he admired, from Mignola to Mazzucchelli to Micheluzzi, and that's why I sought him out, online. I said, okay, so whenever I saw images, I put him into my Micheluzzi folder. He's great. He's great. Let me go to the next page as I go on. And very different here. Look at the last page, the way it looked, right? Very fine, without that kind of detail, just very bold lines. And this one, he had a lot of texture and stuff, which is as good. It is legitimate. That's fine. Toth did it himself. However simple Toth is, he didn't skimp. People think he skimped. No, he didn't skimp. So that's a little different there. But he's great. Look at this. It's awesome. Really good. Iran's something. I don't know what that is, but look at this. The angle shot there. The objects there are drawn really well. The structures are great. The faces are fantastic. Attilio Micheluzzi. Attilio Micheluzzi. And he had a different name. They said he had a different name, an alias at times. I forgot what it was. But he's great. He's more representational at times, and then more cartoony at times. Like here, this is the more cartoony stuff. But it's legit good. I mean, look at this. Italiano. You got a lot of these Italian artists who are really good, and they love Toth. Look at this. This is just good stuff, man. Very simple line work there. No wrinkles on her pants, and this big black fur coat there. That's really cartoony. It's really good. I think it might be a cover, yeah. I clearly had that to cover. It's good stuff. Good stuff. 1 second, guys. If you give me 1 second. I'll do it later. I was gonna stand, but I'll do it later. Okay. All right, guys. I'm gonna go a few more comments. So yeah, Torchbearer Studios. It is from Attilio Micheluzzi, Italian artist, a great cartoonist. I'm assuming some of his work has been published in English. I don't know for sure, but he's really good. Very dramatic, great placement of blacks, great cartooning, and I think he did the works. I think he did it all too. He's one of those guys, the quote unquote auteurs. I can't stand that pretentiousness, but hey, man, that's what a guy who does it all technically is. Enrique Cabrera says the only good jihad is the Butlerian jihad. If you could elaborate on that, I'm sorry. Maybe I should know. I just don't know. Mike says they took the word jihad out of the Dune movie. I'm disappointed. Yeah, they did. I gathered that it was in the novel. That's what I remember seeing. There's also a TV show in the Star Trek cartoon. They had something jihad as one of the titles of the story. Mike says David Lynch's Dune still best Dune. I don't think so, Mike. I just don't. I disagree. The Villeneuve, I mean, it's just better visually. The story-wise, also, David Lynch had his moments, but not really. Pretty limited. Whatever it was, special effects or the way that they shot it. And Lynch was his own thing. Also, he was. It's very strange for him to see him do like a big picture like that. It is. It was much more intimate in his stories, much more quirky in them than a big epic like that. John says, I agree with what you were saying. My point was that bullets don't kill ideas. What you are doing here, talking about, it does. I hear you, John. I think I misunderstood you first, and then I understood what you said. The only thing that eventually ends a corruptive ideology is truth. 100%. 100%, John. And that's why but the truth is not being allowed to be spoken publicly in mainstream, is it, about Islam and jihad, and about the fact that it is Islam that motivates jihad, not alleged deviant forms of it. So my whole thing has been, I remember being told by friends and, fellow objectivists saying, people aren't really ready to hear this. I said, ready or not, ready or fucking not, they got to hear it. I don't give a shit about if you're not ready. If you're a speaker if you're telling a speech, I'm not going to join people at their ignorance. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell them the truth that I have discovered about this. The truth, not my truth, the truth. I'm going to tell them what I know about this and let them step up or let them condemn me if they want. But that's what I'm going to tell them. I'm not going to join them at their ignorance. I think that's stupid. And I know people do that, unfortunately. Totally agree, John. Totally agree. I misunderstood you for a second, but I think I got it at the end where you're right. It is the idea is you have to, okay, one example also, when Ronald Reagan calls the evil empire of the Soviet Union evil empire, that made a difference. It made a moral difference. It made it okay for then the general public to take that in and start thinking of it that way. And within a few years, it collapsed in on itself because it had this pretense of trying to be, we're better than America, we're great. You're not. You're a piece of shit. You're savages. And having a guy like that call it evil empire makes a big dent in the fantasy of the enemy and what people believe about communism and all that. It creates hellholes like Islam does. So it's important to demoralize this enemy who shouldn't even have any kind of moral belief. Well, they don't, but to demoralize them to the point where even the pretense collapses, and that's what eventually happened. So yeah, discussing it, and yeah, letting our soldiers take out the true believers. And by that I mean the jihadist groups, the Islamic terrorist states like Iran, the Saudis. Technically speaking, Iran is the greatest state sponsor of terrorism. Saudis are not state sponsors per se, even though I know they're in on it. It's more of the sheikhs around them, the billionaire sheikhs who come to America. From what I gather, I've learned this from others who are in the know. They come to America, they have as much un-Islamic fun as they can have, right? Go back to Saudi Arabia, feel guilty about it, and what do they do? Give money to these jihadist groups to make them feel better about indulging the way that they couldn't in their own country. And I believe that. Hey, Diana. Diana says, hi, Bosh. Thank you for your honesty about Islam and jihad and Sharia law. This is why we need Pigman in the mainstream. To those on the fence, let's get this campaign over 200. Let's help our friend Bosh. Thanks, Diana. I do appreciate the extra push. And I'm going to remind people, yeah, I am right there on the cusp. I'm at 199 backers, guys. If you're listening, if you're thinking about it, if you want to do it later on, why not consider getting it now? It's a comic book that, unlike any other, it takes on the Islamic enemy, takes on the left, takes on, everything. I mean, all the allies of the Islamic enemy that there are, and even some idiots on the right who don't want me to go after Islam and just focus on jihad. I say, yeah, I focus on the motivating factor as well, which we have to, which is Islam. Someone mentioned that it looks like a shit cliff, and they're right. And that's not by accident. It looks like a cliff made of crap, like I made the mountains. If you notice in the Pigman comic, it looked like crap. Some of them. That's not by accident. These are rats. They're in rat caves. So yeah, guys, consider backing Pigman. I would really appreciate it. I would really appreciate it. I got this other drawing that I did the old day also. Just I posted it when I tagged John and Ethan, just thanking him for helping me pass 13,000. This one, I just did this the old day as well. I like, I like the spirit of it. America Akbar. Right before he does in this jihadist, it looks like a zombie. Pigskin leather, guys, to exploit the Islamic enemy's bigotry. I'll never stop saying that, and I always get a little grin, a little smile when I say that. I think it's funny. Also, actually, let me show you this. And guys, if you're interested, Ethan was supposed to have a CG auction the old day, and it didn't happen. But I got some stuff prepared for that. I got this Pigman ready for taking out a jihadist with his pigskin leather glove. And then I also have this, which is, it puts Kanye West in his place. That's where he belongs. He's Hitler's mustache now. That's where he's relegated himself. He's a piece of shit who tries to blame the Jews for his cancellation. He's self-canceled. He's a billionaire who's self-canceled. And he wears swastikas on his t-shirt now on videos. And fine, Kanye, do it. You sided with a great evil, and you've never said anything against Islam. Why? That's your boys. They love Hitler. Why don't you love them? Why don't you talk them up? Say, hey, I'm with you guys. I'm with jihad. Why not? So that's where Kanye belongs, under Hitler's nose. And if we do have that, auction, I got the Black Cat. We were, basically redrawing Frank Miller's recent covers and the Sabretooth. So that's also something to think about if you guys want any of those at a certain point. So guys, back Pigman. I would really, really appreciate it. If you're here, if you haven't gotten it yet, check it out. I know there are a lot of people who know about Pigman who are holding off on it, and just pull the trigger, man. I would really appreciate it. Thanks, Anna, for the extra push. John says, I believe that in the end, the truth will win. It will. The truth always comes out. It always does. Hi, Grey Wolf. Art says, my bad, I meant pro-choice. I was in a rush. Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, man, it's a complex issue. I don't take it lightly. I don't call it murder. I think it's flippant. I think it's cheap. I think they do it sometimes a little like, yeah, it's murder, and it's like, nah, you can't talk about it that way. It's a serious issue. It should be taken seriously, especially by the people involved, and it's a private issue also. It's not some political, like a football to be thrown flippantly. It's a serious thing. These are serious things with a potential human life in the balance, that people got to deal with on an emotional level. It shouldn't be a political thing. It really shouldn't. Um, and the left is horrific as advocates for it. They're horrific. They're evil. They're evil. So when they, flippantly say those things, the right use it as much as they can, and then they're right to, because that's their position, that they disagree with it. But the left is so evil about abortion that, you know. But you strip that off, it comes down to individual human beings with very, very personal emotional issues, and it can rock families and people and couples, and so it's not an easy thing, and it's not something to be just thrown about easily. It's just not. Mucky says, "Oh right, Zobel Death Proof, hippies getting smoked." I didn't see. It's funny. I thought I saw them all. I think Death Proof was something that didn't appeal to me at all. I think I saw a trailer. I was like, "Ugh, he's trying to be too. I don't know what he was doing with that. I think I saw parts of it with Kurt Russell, right? He kills people with his car, women. I don't know. Horror movie, I guess. Mike says, I wonder if Tarantino would direct a Pigman movie. I doubt it, Mike. I highly doubt it. I mean, he could do a hell of a job with it. Let's just say if he was all in, I think he would do a great Pigman movie. Get a guy like Vincent D'Onofrio. I think he'd be perfect as Frank Warner. He's a big guy. He could put on the big voice. He doesn't have he has a high pitched voice regularly. Not high, but he doesn't have as hard a voice as he has as a Kingpin. But size wise, acting ability, I could see him. Even though he's a leftist and Tarantino also votes left, and even though he's pretty rational about certain things, Tarantino, um, he's a storyteller, and he's a moralist. Whatever he says about himself, he's a moralizer. He is. You could tell in the way he handles the bad guys in his movies. He makes them pay dearly for what they do. He hates evil, even if he's wrong about what's evil sometimes. Certain ways, of course, Nazis and all that, and the would-be killers, and once upon a time in Hollywood, but still. Mucky says artistic satisfaction in his movies. Skull! Trevor, my man. Good morning. Monkey says, my friend played the tattooer in The True Romance. Very cool. He's a foot guy, yeah. Sus. Tarantino's, he has a foot fetish. He shows the feet of, I think, women in his movies. The last time he did that was with Margot Robbie in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where she puts her feet up, I think, in the movie theater. She shows her feet. Mike, Jackie Brown was pretty wholesome, yeah. I mean, relatively speaking, yeah, with Cherry, what's his name? What was his name? That was really good too. I mean, the ensemble was incredible. You had De Niro playing a relatively small part in there. You had Michael Keaton in there. You had Samuel Jackson. It was really well done. I read the novel. I think it was called Rum Punch, if I'm not mistaken, the novel, and then it turned to Jackie Brown. I think it was called Rum Punch by Elmore Leonard, and it was a pretty good adaptation, an interesting one, if not completely aligned with it. Interesting adaptation, and I was like, whoa! I was very excited. I was like, okay, I read the novel. I really liked it. Let's see what it does. He did a good job. The looks of the characters were different. He cast them differently. But then things like moments like De Niro, and he has that moment with that Bridget Fonda, if you don't know about it, and then Samuel Jackson had to do something about it. He goes, "You used to be beautiful, man." Something like that. Told him. Just funny line like that. Very funny. I'm not sure if that was in the novel, if I remember. Monkey says, "I love all the posters they made for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood." Yeah. Also the novel that he wrote, and then the special edition Blu-ray with the Mad Magazine cover and all this stuff. Great stuff, man. He went all out in there. I mean, all out. He made an entire novel about it. And the rumor is, I don't know if it's true, but the rumor is he's doing a TV series. So that's his way of getting out of the 10 movies. That's it, right? Good. I don't think he should stop. I know what he's saying about some people get old and they get bad. Not everyone does. Not everyone does. Clint Eastwood, he still made a good movie, recently. It's still good. He's still good. So it's not necessarily the case that with age comes bad work. Walt Simonson, I think he's older than Frank Miller. Still kicking ass. As great as ever. Trevor says, I think Tarantino, I think he has no political position. He just goes along with his Hollywood pals. I believe that as well. I don't think he's a committed leftist. I just think that he will vote leftist and be stupid at times. Go on Bill Maher and talk about how he doesn't want Kamala to go out there and speak because she might lose. Like, God damn it, Quentin. You're saying that your choice candidate, you don't want her out there because you know she'll lose if she opens her mouth. What does it say about you, you dummy? No, but he's a great filmmaker, and that's why you got to cut it off. It's like, yeah, sure, Quentin, you're a great filmmaker. You're not a political analyst. You don't know shit about this stuff. But I do like the fact that he stood with the Israeli soldiers against Hamas. I like that. Took photos with him. He lives in Israel. His wife is Israeli, so at least gets it on that level that these guys are scum and they got to be put down like the mad dogs they are, or the mad pigs, right? Mike says some actors are more prop than actor. Yeah. That's why there's a guy standing next to Tarantino with his own Academy Award for Pulp Fiction. Sometimes it's what you don't draw, like Frazetta versus Kent Kelly. Tell me what you mean about that, Mike, because so many lines, everything's so clear. Yeah. Yeah, well, Ethan does as well. Ethan is a very, very detailed artist, but you can tell it's very clear what he's drawing. Unlike a guy like, I think, Matt Barr, who did, I saw images of Rock and Roll Ninja where you couldn't exactly make what was happening because of all the line work. And it was a mess of line work. It wasn't even like but Ethan is clear with his detail. You know where something starts and ends. So it's just a better form of that. These kookaburras are very loud this morning. I don't know what that means. But I'm refreshing, guys. Get me to 200, guys. Come on. Come on, guys. Just one backer. Get to 200. I definitely want to promote my work as I do these streams. But I also want to go through some of this art as well, which I'm going to do. I'm going to put it back on this Attilio Amicaluzzi. That's a great design. It's a great cover. Great frame of the title there. The white of the snow. A good face. Well drawn. It's good stuff, man. Really, really good stuff. Trevor says, but Bosch, liberal whiny voice, if we kill the enemy, how are we going to teach him humanity? Yeah. Disgusting. Terrible. What did Trudeau say? If you kill the enemy, you lose? Something like that? It's like, no, you win, dummy. That's how you win. Kill the enemy at war with you, you kill them. Trevor says, too many hippie pacifists want soldiers to be guidance counselors. Yes, hammers, not scalpels. Absolutely right. 100%. Unleash hell. You take our soldiers against the Islamic enemy, say, guys, make a plan, take our military at large with generals and everything. End this threat. Bush never gave him that mission. He never did. He said Islam is peace. He compromised us, crippled our war effort, and all that bullshit. On and on and on. Stormtrooper Julian Steve says, hell, Bosch, hell. What do you think about Vasilis and John's pigment drawings? I thought they look great. They look great. I love seeing other artists interpret, you know, what the hell? I couldn't say it. Pigment. I love seeing it. It's so different than what I would do. And I love the fact that they retain their individuality, even though they have a reference point, right? They're not trying to draw it necessarily my way. It's their way. Because why? Because they're individuals and they're artists in their own right. They know what to do and they know how to do it. So I love it. I love seeing that. John's, Graham's, Vasilis. Richard says, yeah. Uh, Graham did an awesome one too. He did two jihadas on the ground and Pigman's hovering over them. Very classic comic book style. Very different than Vasilis's and John's, which is awesome. So yeah, I love it. I love seeing that. I get a real kick out of it. Mike says Death Proof was a grindhouse movie like a hobo with a shotgun or Brawl and Cell Block 99. Brawl and Cell Block 99. Now that's good. That's a good movie. Also, Bone Tomahawk. Oof, that is tough to watch, man, but it's good. And then Dragged Across Concrete. And yes, new one coming up with Vince Vaughn and Adrian, the guy who just won an Oscar. Adrian, the big nose guy. I forgot. Afternoon, Flatey. How's it going? Cheers. Mucky says $1 Million Baby and Gran Torino, Old Eastwood is best. Those are great. Yeah. They were great films. That's a tough one too. $1 Million Baby, that ending. Oof, it is tough. It's awesome. Diana says, here in my home state of California, the leftist Democrat politician scumbags allow abortion up until delivery of the babies in the womb. Even after, Diana, 9 months, 10 months, I'm not exaggerating. I did a discussion with it with my friend Andrew Bernstein on a show we used to do. There was a law that they can do that. It's like, that's murder. That's murder at that point. That's it. I know conservatives like to call it murder in the womb and all that, and murder meaning, when abortion, but that's murder. When you can take it out, it's breathing on its own, it's alive, and they do it in. That's murder. There's no way around that. Tells you all you need to know here in the belly of the beast, yeah. It's a tough situation. It really is, and it's an emotional one. It's a very private thing also, and people want to make it a public spectacle. And it's not that. It's just not that. The issue of abortion. Muggy says, my brother watched the movies mentioned in Death Proof. It's part of what I liked about Death Proof is how it caught that 70s car movie feeling with some extra coolness. I gotta watch it. Is it a Tarantino, one of his 10 movies that he's gonna end up doing? Is that one of them, or is that something with someone else? Was it with another guy? I don't remember exactly. I know that he shot a part of Sin City. I know that Tarantino shot a part of the Sin City movie. Was this having to do with Robert Rodriguez also? Death Proof? I don't know. Mike says Ken Kelly was a protege of Frazetta, but Ken Kelly fills the entire canvas with so much detail it takes away from the piece. What Frazetta does is not draw everything. Yeah. Well, Frazetta was a pretty bare bones artist. I mean, he didn't skimp. Everything was there, but pretty bare bones. Even when he made that werewolf comic that I showed actually recently, the werewolf was mostly in silhouette. It was a very dramatic choice that he made. Strong visual choice because you would usually want to make all the fur and stuff, but he said, no, I'm going to make it like a silhouette type. And it's pretty strong. I mean, yeah, negative space, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to skimp. You definitely don't, but you want to put the work in. You want to make sure that there's enough impact on that page. And sometimes impact means a very simple drawing as well. Very simple. Marcus says, we're missing out on Clint Eastwood's kid playing and Eastwood directed Dirty Harry or Another Man with No Name. He does resemble him. I just don't know if he has the chops, though, Trevor. I've seen him in some movies. He's pretty good, but he's not Clint Eastwood. He's just not there. And he's not as big also. He's not as tall. I mean, Clinton was 6'4", a legit. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Okay, yeah. Mike Hunt says, the art you had on screen made me think of that. Perfection not when there is nothing left to add, but when there's nothing left to take away. Yeah. You know, make it so simple you can't cheat. You want to do that as well. You don't want to skimp. You don't want to skimp, but you want to put everything that's needed there. It's important as artists. We want to communicate. We want to get it out there clearly. But we also don't want to busy up because in the end, we're telling stories. This is a visual medium that is a storytelling medium. That's really what comics is all about. It's not about pretty pictures. It's not about pinups. Not about that stuff. It's about getting it from this panel to an interesting way to the next panel, and so on and so on. It's not just getting it to the next panel like some serviceable artists do, where it's okay, but an interesting, transition to the next panel, and so on and so on and so on until it adds up into a story. That is the thing in the end. It's all story. This guy's really good, man. Attilio Micheluzzi. I do got to get going, guys, but thanks for being here. I do appreciate it. We've been going on for over 2 hours. Wow. Guys, if you could back Pigman, I would really appreciate it. Anyone here? I got enough eyeballs in here where at least one of you guys I know didn't back it. Consider backing it, guys. I'll do another pitch if you want me to. Mike says the contrast of the hard black shadows of the white shirts. Yeah, it's awesome. Maki says Death Proof isn't his best, but if you like car chase movies, yes, it's a great movie. Okay, I will definitely check it out. It's so funny. I have seen all those movies, and then I just realized I didn't see that. I don't know what it was. The trailer, I was like, oof. It looked like Robert Rodriguez was involved with him in some capacity. I don't remember. Is it a pure Tarantino movie, or is it one of the things that he did on the side somehow? And I don't know. Mike says Beasley. That's how I pronounce it. Beasley used to draw black and white comics in the late 80s. He drew black steel, but with a lot of white, yet it looked black. I couldn't figure it out as a kid, yeah. There's a beautiful splash page in Akira when Tetsuo meets Akira. The composition, the anatomy of weight is perfect, yeah. Toth himself actually drew a little homage to Akira, which was awesome. Go through a few more here, guys, and then I do got to get going. Thanks for being here. Always appreciate it. Love the give and take. Love talking about these things that I'm passionate about. Well, I mean, we went everywhere. We went to Islam, jihad, abortion, Tarantino, Pigman. I mean, look at this, guys. This is really good stuff. That's a beautiful panel right there. Heavy dark under the eyes and semi-silhouette. Very, very cool. Just that even. Look at that. Look at that. Really fine lines there to make that smoke look like real smoke. I love it. Dry brush, probably. A little cotton ball putting up against it when it even was on the paper to smudge a little. Great shadows over the heads, with the hats on. Really, really good. Look at this. Again, this is Attilio Micheluzzi. He's an Italian artist, Italian comic book artist. He's great. I discovered him after Toth mentioned him in his one interview. Great stuff. Monkey says the first half of Death Proof is a boring setup. Trevor says LOL, Tarantino's part in 4 rooms. Is that another movie that he did one part in? Trevor? Sometimes, Mike says, sometimes I'll get hyper fixated on a picture in a comic that it stops time. Yeah, absolutely. It's, the static image, that's the key here that makes it different than any other medium. It's like, it's writing and drawing and stopping you cold certain times. Again, like the image behind me, the Toth image. I will show it. Look at it, guys. Up there, that Toth cover of the ship with the hovering alien ships over it. If there's one image of that Toth that just knocks me out, it's that one. It's like, it's just something about it, man. It's just otherworldly. Clearly, the black for the water, the dramatic look, and also the elegance of the ships going around that ship. Beautiful. Great, great stuff. That styles me cold. Definitely does. All right, guys. Mike says, time in comics is bizarre. Scott McCloud explains time well in Understanding Comics. I read all his books. I got to say, I don't know. It's so funny. While I appreciate them, a little presumptuousness on his part. He's not that great a cartoonist. You know, I'd rather have a guy like Toth do that because he's, great, all-time great. Scott McCloud, I've read some of his comics, even the sculpture. I read it and I liked it, and he gave it his all, and it's still lacking something. I don't know what it is. Doesn't have the oomph, and plus he's some dumb leftist. Mike says, like Batman is about to be squashed by a car, he has a half a second to get to safety, yet he can explain the entire situation in a huge paragraph. Yeah. How about this one, time-wise? It was Cyberforce, I think, Silvestri. One of his guys is jumping from a tree onto someone, right? And he has literally paragraphs that he's speaking about. That's bad. It's bad. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do it in mid-jump. Now, if he was on the tree talking to him, fine, but he's jumping from it. And that doesn't work on any level. Even if time is, questionable in comics and this, that you could play with it. Not that way. So I remember that. I was embarrassed for him. I think I love Mark Silvestri. I think he's great. From day one, he was good. I think he's arguably the most talented guy from the entire Image group in terms of sheer drawing ability. More so than Jim Lee and McFarlane. I mean, more so. Just a better style, very organic, very natural, very almost Buscema-esque in terms of his anatomy, the way he moved, the elegance of it, but of course the real nice finish with the beautiful women, handsome guys, good bodies, good storytelling too. He's a very good storyteller. I think Silvestri was the best of that crew. Attilio Micheluzzi. It's good stuff, man. Very good stuff. A little color work from him. Love the black, man. Love it. Trevor says, Four Rooms is a collaborative movie with 4 different directors, each doing a different story with a through line of a bellhop. I know of that. I didn't know Tarantino directed one of them. Huh. All right, guys. Guys, we will check us out another time. I got to get going. Great chatting with you guys. And again, I'm going to refresh. Please consider backing Pigman. I would really, really appreciate your support. I'm going to keep repeating all the things that I often say. I mean, no one else takes on jihad and Islam the way I do, or no one does it at all, even in a bad way. It's a pretty complex story. It's not just a guy beating on jihadists, which I love doing that. I love that part of it, absolutely. But it's beyond that. It's about brothers and ideology and arguments and, rage and philosophy and ideology and clashing. Truth, lies, liars, and truth tellers. Born again Muslim, recovered Muslim, battling it out in Pigman's world and in the real world, quote unquote, real world of Killian and his brother. So check it out, guys. I would really appreciate your backing. I want to cross 200. I want to get to 500, 600, 700. I want to get to 1,000 backers. I want this to make a real splash. So Dennis says Sylvester's Wolverine was awesome. It was awesome. And again, it was a pretty not that far from Buscema began it, right? And then it went from there, and then Silvestri took over, and it was not that big a difference in terms of quality wise. It was still great quality, and I think Dan Green was inking those issues. Trevor says Tarantino directs the awesome conclusion. Okay, well you got me sold. I'm gonna put it on my list. 1 second, guys. It looks like the guy who played Richie Aprile in The Sopranos is in it. Is that the case? The guy's a great actor. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm gonna put it on my watch list. Very, very cool. Thanks, Trevor. And then also Death Proof, I think you guys said might be worth it. One thing is for sure, regardless, Tarantino can make these things interesting, regardless of the subject matter at times. Thanks, guys. Okay. Thanks, Mike. I really appreciate it. Mike with the super chat. He says, Baby Lemon looking up to our Lemon character standing in a superior position. Baby Lemon looking up to our Lemon character standing in a superhero position. I don't know. I'm lost. Maybe I shouldn't be, but I am. Huh. I'm sorry, Mike. I want you to, get all you can for those $2, but I don't know. You're describing something. Sorry. Maybe if you could elaborate. Richard says Liefeld says Silvestri was hands down the best out of the Imagery founders. Interesting that he would say that. Huh. You think is he trying to take a hit against Lee, who was probably considered that, even though Silvestri is a better artist to me than Jim Lee. Jim Lee is a little too stiff. Silvestri has a natural elegance of body movement and that dynamic poses and energy, in the best sense. Yeah. Dan Green inked it, right, Dennis? Yeah, Trevor. Tarantino's rant about Top Gun is priceless and funny too. About it being a gay movie. That's hilarious. And then trying to get him away from the woman type thing, and it's funny. It's a GIF technical error. Huh. All right, Mike. Sorry about that. That's the description of the Super Secret Bosch. Okay. Baby Lemon looking up to our Lemon character standing in a superior position. Okay, I guess it was supposed to visualize it. Maybe it's on YouTube. Maybe it shows it. I don't know, guys. Anyway, guys, you guys take care. I wanted to crack 200. I guess I didn't. That's unfortunate, but until next time, I'm gonna try to keep pitching. I'm gonna keep plugging away. It will do it. I just want to do it on the stream. I like chatting with you guys, showing you some arts, and also pitching Pigman. I will never stop pitching out until I close it out. I just want to make sure it gets as best a shot as I can give it to make it. Guys, take care. Be well. I will see you soon. Take care, guys.